I want to start today's story with something I don't usually share. A name I haven't said out loud in a while, Thomas. He was my best friend for over 40 years. Fishing partner. Sunday chess rival. Godfather to my daughter. We shared birthdays, Thanksgiving dinners, and even retirement. And then one afternoon, Thomas called me. His voice sounded strange. Not slurred. Just hesitant. He said he felt off. Like he couldn't find the right words. He laughed it off, said maybe he skipped lunch. 2 days later, he had a massive stroke. And he never woke up again. I remember sitting in that hospital room, staring at monitors I didn't understand. All I could think was, what if I had known? What if he had known? That was the first time I ever heard the phrase TIA, transient ischemic attack. Some call it a mini-stroke. I call it the missed chance that changed everything. They told me the signs were there. That Thomas probably had a warning. That if we had acted fast, if someone around him had known what to look for. But we didn't. We missed it. And I've carried that regret with me ever since. So today, this isn't just another video. It's not statistics or medical charts. It's a story. A warning. And maybe, just maybe a second chance for someone else out there. Because what happened to Thomas might be preventable for you or someone you love. Let's talk about the signs we overlook. Let's talk about mini strokes and why seniors ignore them. Let's make sure Thomas didn't leave this world for nothing. Now, maybe you're wondering, what exactly is a TIA, and why don't more people know about it? Let me explain it in the simplest way I can. A transient ischemic attack, or mini-stroke, is like your body whispering, pay attention. It happens when the blood supply to part of your brain is briefly blocked, usually by a tiny clot. Not long enough to kill brain tissue like a full stroke, but long enough to send a warning shot. Think of it like a flicker in the lights. Just for a moment. But that flicker means something is wrong with the wiring, and you better check it before the whole house goes dark. The symptoms of a TIA are almost identical to those of a major stroke. Sudden numbness or weakness, usually on one side of the body. Blurred or double vision. Slurred speech, or trouble finding words. Dizziness, confusion, and even trouble walking. But here's the catch, they disappear. A TIA might only last a few minutes, maybe an hour. By the time you think to call someone, it's gone. And that's the danger. Most people, especially seniors, ignore it. They think it's fatigue, or low sugar, or just getting older. Oh, I got lightheaded for a second, but I'm fine now. That's exactly what Thomas said. And yet, studies show that 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will have a full stroke within a year. Most of them within just 90 days. Let that sink in, 90 days. That's 3 months to change your life. Or lose it. Why do we ignore it? Because the body resets. We feel fine. We go back to our coffee and crossword and forget anything ever happened. And let's be honest, it's scary. No one wants to say out loud, I think something's wrong with my brain. But ignoring a mini stroke is like hitting snooze on a fire alarm. The warning doesn't go away. It gets louder. Now here's the part one want you to remember most, a TIA is a gift. It's your body giving you a chance. A small window of time where you can still act, still reverse course. That's why we need to talk about this. Not tomorrow. Not after dinner. Now. Because if you felt that flicker, if your hand went numb for a moment, or your words came out jumbled for no reason, you owe it to yourself to find out why. We're going to talk about the signs more in the next segment. But before we do, let me say this. You are not imagining it. You are not overreacting. You are not being dramatic. You are being wise. And wise people listen to warnings. I want to take a few moments to walk you through some real stories, names changed, but every detail painfully true. These aren't headlines or case studies. These are neighbors, friends, people from church, people like us. Let's start with Lucy, my neighbor. She's 72, and still gardens every Sunday. One morning, she looked out the kitchen window and realized she could only see out of her left eye. The right side? Completely dark. She blinked. Waited. It came back. She told herself it was fatigue. Didn't tell anyone. That week, Lucy had another episode. Words wouldn't come out quite right. Her daughter noticed but didn't think much of it. A month later, Lucy suffered a full-blown ischemic stroke. The doctors called her earlier events a classic case of a transient ischemic attack, or mini-stroke. No permanent damage, just a warning. Then there's Gerald, a retired postman. Strong man, always early to the diner. One afternoon, while chatting with his buddy, his left arm slipped off the table. He laughed, said it, fell asleep. But it was also tingling. 10 minutes later, he was fine. He didn't go to the ER. 6 weeks later, Gerald collapsed. It wasn't funny anymore. Third story, Martha, age 78. A loving grandma. One evening, while playing cards with her grandson, she slurred a sentence. Her face drooped slightly. She excused herself, took a nap. Later that night, her daughter rushed her to the hospital. They ran a CT scan and confirmed it had been a TIA. She was lucky, the brain clot dissolved on its own. Do you see the pattern? The symptoms always passed. Vision came back. Speech returned. Arms moved again. That's what makes mini-strokes so deceptive. They don't look dramatic. They don't scream emergency. They whisper. And if you're not listening, you miss your chance. Let me summarize the most common symptoms we've seen. Sudden numbness or weakness on one side of the body. Blurred or lost vision in one or both eyes. Slurred speech or trouble forming words. Sudden confusion, memory gaps. Loss of coordination, dizziness, or balance trouble. A short, intense headache with no clear cause. Each of these can last just minutes to a few hours, and that's the danger. The brain is warning you, something is wrong with your blood flow. A clot, a narrowing, a misfire. And when people don't seek help, that temporary problem becomes permanent damage. Let me tell you one more. Roy, Vietnam vet, 74. He felt a sudden rush of vertigo while watching TV. The room spun, and he could barely stand. 5 minutes later, it stopped. He thought it was dehydration. Or maybe his blood pressure pills. 3 weeks later, he was in rehab, relearning how to speak. The ER doctor said his episode was likely a TIA, brought on by poor cholesterol control and a lack of stroke rehabilitation after a previous event. Roy's story is why I always tell people, if something feels weird, get a scan. Look for a neurologist near you. Use your Medicare stroke coverage. Don't wait and see. Because when it comes to brain blood clots, there's no prize for being tough. If you've ever had one of these signs, even for 5 minutes, comment below. And if this video made you think of someone, share it. Send it to your brother, your neighbor, your church group. We can't afford to keep losing people to silence. Next up, we'll break down the difference between these mini strokes and major strokes. Stick around. It might change how you respond next time someone says, "I just feel off." Now let's slow things down and get into something every senior, and every family, needs to understand. What's the real difference between a mini stroke and a major stroke? It might sound like a small distinction. But it's the line between walking into your doctor's office, or being wheeled into the ER. A mini stroke, or transient ischemic attack, is what we call a warning shot. It's caused by a brief blockage in blood flow to part of the brain, usually from a tiny blood clot that dissolves on its own within minutes or hours. There's no permanent damage, no dead brain cells. But that doesn't mean there's no risk. Quite the opposite. A major stroke, however, whether ischemic or hemorrhagic, is a full-on assault. Either the clot doesn't go away, starving part of the brain of oxygen, or a blood vessel bursts, flooding the brain with pressure. In both cases, cells begin dying within minutes. And that's when the clock starts. Let me give you a visual. Imagine a garden hose. A TIA is like someone kinking the hose for a moment, the water flow slows, then comes back. But a major stroke is like slashing the hose open, or stuffing it with concrete. The water either floods where it shouldn't, or stops altogether. When I spoke to Dr. Singh, a stroke neurologist, she said something that stuck with me. A TIA is the rehearsal. The stroke is the performance. And it's almost always tragic. Here's something shocking. About 1 in 3 people who have a TIA will have a major stroke within 12 months, and half of those within just 48 hours. So yes, knowing the difference matters. A TIA will feel sudden, but you'll recover. That's the trap. Because if you don't act, that recovery is short-lived. A major stroke. You may not walk again. You may not speak. You may not live. Now let's talk types. Most strokes, about 87%, are ischemic strokes, caused by blood clots blocking the artery. That includes most TIAs. But hemorrhagic strokes, though less common, are more deadly. They happen when a weakened artery bursts, often due to high blood pressure or aneurysms, and bleeds into the brain. Both need emergency care. But only one gives you a warning. Only the TIA gives you a second chance. That's why I tell folks, if you've had even a hint of a TIA, don't wait. Ask your doctor for a CT scan, a brain angiography, or a referral to a neurologist near you. Many Medicare and senior health insurance plans cover stroke evaluation fully. Use them. And if you're supporting a loved one, be alert for the signs. Even confusion, a stutter, a lost word, could be the beginning. Let me ask you, did you know the difference before today? Has anyone you know had what they thought was just a dizzy spell that turned into something worse? Leave a comment. It helps this channel, yes, but more than that, it helps others like you learn from real stories. And don't forget to like this video if it gave you something new to think about. Every click spreads awareness. Next up, I'll walk you through the specific steps to take if you, or someone around you, shows signs of a mini stroke. Because time isn't just money. It's memory. It's movement. It's your life. So, what should you do if you, or someone around you, shows signs of a mini stroke? Let me say it straight, act like it's the real thing. Every single time. Don't wait to see if it passes. Don't brush it off. Don't wait until after lunch, or after a nap, or until the next morning. With stroke symptoms, wait and see can become too late in just minutes. Here's the checklist I've shared with my own family, and I hope you write this down. Call 911 immediately. Don't drive yourself. Don't wait for your spouse to feel better. Emergency responders can start treatment before you even get to the hospital. Note the time. Doctors need to know exactly when the symptoms started. It determines what treatments, like clot-busting medication, are possible. Keep the person calm and seated. Don't offer food, drinks, or medication unless told to. At the hospital, request a brain scan. Either a CT scan or an MRI to check for blockage or bleeding. Mention if they've had a transient ischemic attack before. Request a follow-up with a neurologist. Many hospitals have stroke teams or referrals. You can also search "neurologist near me" online using Medicare provider directories. Get evaluated for underlying causes. That includes high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, cholesterol, and more. Ask about medications or lifestyle changes. Ask for stroke prevention support. Some plans, like Medicare stroke coverage, include diet counseling, therapy, and even home safety checks. Consider private home care for stroke patients during recovery. And here's what I tell everyone over 60, don't go alone. When you have your next appointment, bring a family member or caregiver. Go over your medications. Ask your doctor to explain your stroke risk in plain English. It's not just about surviving. It's about avoiding the second hit. Because once you've had one stroke, or even a TIA, your odds of another go way up. Let me ask you. Have you or a loved one ever gone to the ER because of a sudden symptom, but didn't push for testing? Leave a comment. You could help someone realize how to advocate for themselves next time. And if this part of the video helped you build your emergency plan, give us a thumbs up. Better yet, send it to someone who might need it. We still have 2 important sections coming: how to talk to your doctor about your risks, and the lifestyle changes that could keep you out of the hospital in the first place. Don't go anywhere, because prevention is always better than recovery. Most people go to the doctor and say, "I feel fine." And that's great. But after 60, fine isn't always enough. We need to start having better conversations with our healthcare providers, not just about how we feel today, but about what might be around the corner. So, here's how to talk to your doctor about stroke risk in a way that gets you real answers and real protection. Start with your history. Have I ever had signs of a transient ischemic attack? Do I have a history of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or atrial fibrillation? Has anyone in my family had a cerebral aneurysm or a stroke? Ask about testing. Would a brain scan help us catch early signs of risk? Should we do a carotid ultrasound to check for blockage? Bring up your concerns about symptoms. Last month, I had blurry vision and dizziness. Could that have been a mini stroke? Don't downplay symptoms. Don't say, "I'm sure it was nothing." Ask about medication and prevention. Is my current medication enough to prevent another event? Are there safer alternatives to beta blockers or blood thinners for someone my age? Clarify your insurance options. What does my Medicare stroke coverage include? Are there support programs for stroke rehabilitation for seniors? Talk about lifestyle support. Can you refer me to a nutritionist? What's the best blood pressure monitor for the elderly that you recommend? Doctors are busy. But a prepared patient always gets better care. Bring a written list. Ask a family member to come with you. If you're seeing multiple providers, ask them to share your chart. And most of all, don't be shy. You deserve to know what's going on inside your own body. If you've ever had a good, or not so good, conversation with a doctor about stroke risk, drop it in the comments below. You never know who it might help. And give this video a like if this section helped you feel more confident about asking the right questions. In our final segment, I'll walk you through the lifestyle changes that I, and thousands of others, have made to reduce stroke risk and stay sharp for years to come. Because it's not just about avoiding disaster, it's about building a life worth protecting. Now that we've talked about what a stroke looks like, how to catch it early, and what to ask your doctor, it's time to talk about what comes next. Because the real win isn't just avoiding a stroke. It's staying healthy enough to enjoy the life you're protecting. So here's what I do, and what I recommend, for anyone over 60 who wants to stay sharp, steady, and strong for years to come. Let's start with the basics. Blood pressure management. I monitor mine with a blood pressure monitor for the elderly that's easy to use and has large numbers. My goal is under 130 to 80. Your doctor can help set your range. Heart-smart diet. I eat leafy greens every day, spinach, kale, arugula. I cut out processed foods, sugary snacks, and excess salt. I make sure to get enough magnesium, potassium, and vitamin D from both food and supplements. Exercise you'll actually do. You don't need to run marathons. I walk 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's it. On rainy days, I stretch in the living room or walk around the grocery store. Sleep and stress. Poor sleep increases stroke risk, especially if you snore. I follow a bedtime routine: tea, no screens, soft lighting. I also journal a few lines each night to clear my head. Regular screenings. I see my primary doc every 6 months. Once a year, I ask about my cholesterol, blood sugar, and carotid artery checkups. I've also done a brain scan just for peace of mind. Now, you don't have to do everything at once. Pick one thing from this list and start this week. Maybe it's cutting soda. Maybe it's taking a daily walk. Maybe it's ordering that vitamin D your doctor keeps reminding you about. Consistency beats perfection every time. I've seen too many friends wait until after a crisis to change. But I've also seen what happens when folks take control early. My friend Hank quit smoking at 65. He's now 7'7" and just hiked a trail with his grandson. Another friend, Louise, started tracking her blood pressure every morning, and caught a dangerous spike before it became a stroke. You can be that story, too. Let me ask you, what's one change you'll make starting today? Drop it in the comments below. Your answer might inspire someone else. If this video gave you value, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing. And share it with someone you love. We need more conversations like this in every living room. Because a good life after 60 isn't just about avoiding a heart attack or high blood pressure. It's about enjoying the sunrise, the grandkids, and the laughter at dinner. It's about staying here, healthy and strong, for as long as we're blessed to be.